All right, I'm going to quickly review 5 projects that people have asked about. Decentraland, ZenCash, NavCoin, Basic Attention Token, and Bitclave. Okay, first we'll start with Bitclave, a decentralized search engine. So to me, this has 2 problems. Number one is the incumbent. The biggest ideas are going to be brand new things that never existed before without blockchain. Those are the biggest ideas. As far as existing ideas incorporating blockchain, that's great. It's going to happen. It's like FedEx. You can look up when the web was invented, everyone was excited. Oh, you can find your tracking number on the web. Yeah, that's great. But it didn't really change FedEx's business. It just made it a little more efficient. That being said, so a decentralized search engine, the idea is that you own your own data. Instead of advertisers paying Google, they pay you, or you get paid for doing certain things. All a great idea, but I would worry about 2 things with this. First of all, if they're successful, if this thing is successful, Google will see that and adopt it, just copy it. Maybe they need to sort of, I don't know, in these cases, do you buy Bitclave, but sort of, ensconce Bitclave, or just copy, fork it, do their own, whatever. But to me, why wouldn't Google just copy this if they see it's successful? Let these guys play around. But before they become successful, keep in mind how difficult it will be to be successful because of the chicken and egg problem, which I see in a lot of different projects like this. So the thing is, you're like, well, I'm going to use this search engine because I'm going to get paid and I own my own data. But paid by who? There's nobody there paying. So then you're like, well, okay, so I'm not going to use the search engine until there's people paying. And advertisers say, well, I'm not going to start paying people because there's not enough people for me to waste my time on this. You've got that chicken and egg problem. Not to mention the fact that they got to make a search engine that's as good as Google and get as many advertisers. Maybe they don't need as many as Google has to start being successful, but this just looks very difficult to me, and it looks like it would be a lot easier for Google to do this than these guys to become the decentralized Google. And Basic Attention Token, similar problem. Chicken and egg. Again, this is, instead of a search engine, just advertising in general. You own your own data. They're doing it through, they have a browser. How it works. The bottom, I believe they have a browser here that you use, and if you use the browser, it's hiding your info. The key is you use your browser. But again, who's going to download the browser when there's nothing going on? Why would you use that browser instead of Chrome? And you're like, well, I'm going to make money. But again, you have the same problem. Advertisers are going to be like, well, there's not that many people are using the browser. So very hard for this to take off. And again, why wouldn't Facebook or Google sort of copy this idea and integrate it? What's harder? Building, a Facebook advertising platform, or Facebook figuring out how to incorporate this sort of system into what they already have? I would go with the existing guys just absorbing this. So they've got a chicken and egg problem, and then if they're successful, they run the risk of being copied by giants. So I wouldn't get near it. NavCoin. What is NavCoin? It looks like a fork of Bitcoin Core. It has SegWit, wallets, wonderful, but it has privacy, private transactions, so, well, that's nice, but, there is Zcash, and then if you really want, they're trying to be user-friendly, fast transaction, private payments, sounds like Dash. And the thing about Dash is, I like Dash, right? But these guys don't. This NavCoin doesn't have the funding model Dash has, which is one of the reasons I like it. Dash is older than NavCoin. I don't know the size of NavCoin. It was hard to get data on how many transactions per day. But I would imagine Dash is much bigger than them. And for me, my problem with Dash is they're so small. I mean, so to me, to invest in something smaller than Dash, I think is crazy. Plus, I don't see them doing anything. If I had, to me, it looks like this is a competitor to Dash, and Dash is better and bigger. So that's what I see. Now, if I'm missing something, like I said, let me know. But I'm not interested. ZenCash. So this looks to me like about privacy and everything. So here's the thing. Ethereum just launched a week or two ago ZK-Snarks on the Ethereum blockchain, which allows you to do all of these things, I believe, that ZenCash is saying you can do. Now, granted, this is up and running. ZenCash, I believe, is launched. But whatever. If it hasn't launched, I definitely don't want to do it. But if let's say it's launched, the problem is now they have to run their own blockchain. I would believe that somebody could copy this right on the Ethereum blockchain using ZK-Snarks, and then they don't have to build their own blockchain. They don't have to develop all that trust. They only have to focus on these consumer benefits that they're bragging about here, and don't have to worry about building their own blockchain. And when you work on it, I mean, if someone builds using ZK-Snarks on Ethereum, you don't have to worry as much about security in the blockchain itself. So now this is harder for me to totally understand what they're talking about and what you're able to do on Ethereum platform with ZK-Snarks, and how difficult the ZK-Snarks just launched. How hard would it be for somebody to sort of copy this on the Ethereum blockchain using ZK-Snarks? I don't know, but all of those questions would give me pause to investing in this. So, again, if somebody has answers to those questions, let me know. But a lot of this stuff looks really simple here. Again, private transactions. It's like at this point, it's like, who isn't doing that, right? I mean, and a lot of people aren't, but there are plenty that are probably a lot bigger than ZenCash. Private communications, again, that, if I'm correct here, is common, relatively. Several people are already doing it. It doesn't seem that hugely difficult. Anonymous publishing, I don't know. So, anyways, this doesn't look that exciting to me, and I'm concerned that they're trying to build their own private blockchain, because then you really have to research that. What's their consensus algorithm? How safe is it? How big is it? Blah, blah, blah. Whereas if it was just on Ethereum using ZK-Snarks, I don't have to worry about that. So, and then we've got Decentraland. So Decentraland is a virtual world that runs on open standards. Now, this is on the Ethereum blockchain. So first thing is, well, if this becomes successful, another proof of concept for Ethereum. So, that if I really believed in this, I may just play it safe and buy more Ethereum, because if it's successful, it's good for Ethereum. And if it's not successful, well, I'm sure something else will be successful on Ethereum. So, but anyways, the thing about virtual worlds, my understanding is that, virtual worlds are a bit of a niche. It's not huge, something everybody's going to do, playing virtual worlds. And the other problem, again, that with the big competitors, I like to see stuff that's brand new, never been done, never possible before blockchains, things people could never do, and now they can. Those are the most exciting projects. That'll be the biggest. Taking existing things and having those use the blockchain, it's something, and I'm sure those will happen, but it's not as exciting. So, and then you run into the problem like with this one. So if they have some ideas that are amazing, well, who's the biggest virtual world right now? And why wouldn't they just copy this stuff and integrate these options? And also, take a look here. They're starting out, they're new. Does this, how great is this? I don't know. It doesn't look that awesome, right? I would imagine there's some existing virtual worlds that are a lot more awesome, and they start incorporating whatever wonderful features this virtual world open system has. That would be my guess. Now, again, I didn't dig super deep into any of these, because I see these initial things that make me sort of dismiss it. If I'm missing something, let me know. And I keep my eyes open. One reason I like to investigate a little bit is I'm like, okay, and then 2 months from now, I hear about it again, or I read about it again. And then a few months later, I hear about it again. I'm like, you know what? I better go back to this thing, because it seems to keep coming up. So, that's another reason. And so, hey, maybe I've dismissed one of these too soon. You'll let me know. But basically, none of these look to me like, it could be a huge thing that takes over the world, certainly anytime soon. And also, I love seeing things where it's like, well, it's almost like they don't have competitors. Here, I'm seeing a lot of this stuff, super competitive space with people they're competing against that are a lot larger than they are. All right. Let me know your thoughts.